Good evening, everyone. How are we all? Oh wow, my face is flickering a little. Maybe I'll turn that off. Yeah, I'll get away with that light being off. How are we all doing? I had a week off, feeling a little bit out of it for a week, so I just took a bit of a break, but I'm back now. Um, got some stuff to show you today. I thought something that would uh might be fun because we're all locked down here in Sydney, and we've got minimum of 3.5 weeks to go in our lockdown at the moment. COVID is well and truly entrenched in Sydney at the moment, and so we've got a lot of time to spend in our homes, and so I've set up my special camera today. It's actually just my phone on a little tripod, so you can see it's like cameras aiming at other cameras. Um, and today I thought I'd show you some stuff that is like um stuff to do, stuff to play with while stuck at home, I guess. Um, so who's here? Hi Antarctican. Hi Izzy. Hi Oscar. Oscar, sorry, just finished dinner. um, Hi Joanna. Hi Hamish. Hi Nicole. Hi Donna. Hi Jack. So there's heaps of people here. Um, Nicole said, "Hope I had a refreshing break last week. Thank you very much. I think I needed it. Um, I'm thinking it's just like lockdown on top of just getting shitty at things at work. I know it's really really funny because you see me as like this particular view of me at work in a sense. And when I'm doing that, I'm always trying to make things so that everything's okay. But like it doesn't mean that everything's always like no one's. I think I don't know, but like no one's really in a job where they just love every minute of it, right? I don't think that's how that works. I think if you love every minute of it, chances are you have to pay for it. No one pays you to do it if you're actually just kind of enjoying it the whole time. So yeah, bit rough, but I'm back. Keen to do some interesting things. I'm still really feeling that kind of like long term burnout where I'm just like every now and then I get ideas of things that I want to do that could be interesting, and then I just kind of I'm having to wind it all back in and just go, no, don't do anything. Like you don't have the energy. You won't be able to keep up anything that you try to start at the moment. So I'm just kind of stay in control of things mentally, and so that's what I'm kind of working on at the moment. Um, who else is here? Michael's here. Hello. And Tawaka's here. Hello, also. So, plenty of people online tonight, which is good. Not like you got anywhere else to go. That's gonna be my tagline for the next month worth of um of streams, I think. Um, I have one thing that I've started doing just recently to try to get my mental health going again is to get some regular exercise. So in the last 3 days, I've gone on two bike rides. Um, and it's really really funny because the first bike ride was like because I used to like be right on the edge of like racing fit for cycling, and so I did one bike ride that was about half an hour long, which is pretty short compared to how I used to ride. And my average speed was like literally half of what my average speed used to be when I was going for it. And then like when I got home, I nearly couldn't walk up the stairs to get back into my apartment. It was so I was so out of it. I was just like, wow. I guess I've just been sitting down for the last 3 or 4 years because it's actually been that long since I've turned over a pedal in anger. Like I've ridden around and stuff, but not for exercise or for sport, not for like to really go for it. So I actually went for a ride this afternoon. So if I just fall asleep in front of you, that's because I'm very tired. But yeah, so I'm just gonna build my way back up in a sense. Like I'm not trying to get like race fit or anything like that. At the moment, what I need is just basic exercise. And I think that's gonna be because we know mind and body connected very much so. I mean, I find it ironic. I teach this stuff and then I forget it, but mind and body are connected. So don't let one screw everything, you know, in a sense. Like if you're not looking after your body, your brain's actually going to suffer as well. So yeah. Got that. Jack saying car free Centennial Park on the weekends at the moment. That could be cool. I haven't been, well, obviously haven't been to Centennial Park for a ride in many years, so that could be fun. Oh, you're saying it's pretty busy. I've been riding at Heffron Park in Maroubra because I live around that area, and so it's easier for me to get to and from. Um, is he saying you want to go for a bike ride, but you're a bit anxious about it? Yeah, I can fully understand that. I think there's a like it's not everyone, but there's a lot of like Sydney drivers. There's a lot of hostility towards bikes because they've been riled up by like ignorant media kind of thing, and so like there's a bit of issues there. There's a lot of design in Sydney, like road design, that hasn't been done that well for bikes as well. I mean, it's changing. It is actually actively changing. There's a lot more bike lanes going in and stuff like that. So, yeah. But if you're going just for exercise and stuff, and you can find a park near your house that has like a track that people cycle on, like Centennial Park is one of them, and there's other parks around that maybe that's a better place to start. But you know, hard to say. I don't know where you live, Izzy. I'm not going to dox you or anything on the stream. So, if you can find somewhere to ride that's not necessarily on the road with cars, that might be a better place to start. Nicole said could ride to uni once we open back up. Yeah, yeah. I used to commute to uni on my bike all the time because I only live like 2 suburbs away from the uni, so it's actually really chill. It's a really easy ride, but not in my current condition. So maybe a month of working my condition back up, and then if we come out of lockdown at the end of the month, which is only like a possibility, it's not a guaranteed thing or anything. If that happens, then I'll probably start bike commuting again. Izzy says Roseville Bridge stands between you and the rest of the world. Yeah, Roseville Bridge is like a really serious thing to ride. Like I've never actually ridden it, but I've just driven it and just gone, wow, this is like a huge, huge hill. It's a long way up and down. Yeah. And Nicole's saying you once rode a really thin bike lane near Olympic Park next to a major road and it was terrifying. Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. It's a lot of like if we can like build protected cycleways, we can be in a situation where people will get around on bikes, you know, less pollution, more incidental exercise, just getting out in the world as well and feeling the fresh air and stuff. It could be a really positive thing. Also, like everyone's parking gets easier if everyone's on bikes because they just take up a lot less space. But you know, we'll see. I think Australia is sort of making some progress. They're not. I don't think we're as bad as some places in the US, but we're not as advanced as some places in Europe in sort of like realizing that getting a whole bunch of people commuting on bikes and stuff like that is actually a much kind of it's like a net benefit to the community, but it's the kind of thing that I think it takes a while for people to shift their perspectives to accepting that. He's like terraform the entire of Sydney and make it flat. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Okay, so stuff I wanted to do tonight. This is potentially going to be a pretty quick stream. I was mentioning in the stream and I think on the Discord, saying I've been getting into. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but the Olympics comes around or some major sporting event comes around, like a World Cup or something like that, and we become sports fans for like 2 weeks, and then we go back to not really being sports fans at any other time. I'm one of those people, and so I've been my partner and I have been watching a lot of the women's soccer, watching the Australian team, the Matildas, like survive some very very close calls to get through to the semi-finals, and that's actually starting at 9 p.m. tonight. I won't necessarily just do 1 hour of stream, but I'm not going to be on stream for like 3.5 hours and miss the game. So I'm going to at least try to watch the second half of the game. So probably finishing around like 9:30ish or something like that. We just watched USA versus Canada in the other semi-final, and there was just this one tiny slip up by the US in defense, and it gave Canada a penalty. And so Canada's through to a silver medal match, well, to the gold medal match, guaranteed silver medal, and the US has got knocked out. And for them, being the recent world champions, it's very it was hard on them. I think they really thought they could get to the final. So yeah, interesting. It'll be interesting seeing how things go. Nicole said, "You have sacrificed hours to watch the Olympics instead of doing your major essays. Do you regret it?" No. Yeah, there've been some really amazing moments. And it's kind of like, it's funny because they're all in this bubble where I don't know how much they're getting tested, but I assume the athletes village is getting COVID tested a lot and stuff. And so I think they're in this kind of bubble where you can look into this bubble where all these people are like shaking hands with each other and all this kind of stuff. So the athletes themselves are safe in a sense. The coaches and everyone are like kept at a distance and they've got masks on all the time and stuff, but the athletes have been kind of set free to compete in a sense. So it's kind of us getting to look in from the outside and see that, which is cool. Joanna said, "You never really watched the Olympics, but you watched the badminton finals yesterday. Had a dream about trying to play badminton with a flat tennis ball. It was an adventure." That's great. I think yeah, it's funny how it like every 4 years the Olympics sort of just grabs our excitement for a little bit and we watch stuff. And like I remember doing that for like World Cup soccer as well. And I used to do it a lot for the Tour de France because that's every year. That one's the biggest annual sporting event. The only downside of the Tour de France is it's in France, so like it starts at like 10 p.m. and some of the stages finish at like 2 a.m. and you're like, oh, I can't do that on regularity. Like I can't just do that like, 20 out of 25 days or something like that. I mean, back then. Now I probably could because I'm usually up gaming in those times anyway. Yeah. Uh, Easy saying you can tell whenever Australia gets a gold medal because your parents start yelling like crazy. That's funny. Okay. So stuff that I was gonna do tonight, stuff that I wanted to do was, I'm on this kind of theme that we're locked down, and if we're locked down, then what can we do to entertain ourselves if we can't leave the house? And so I went to my shelf here and I pulled a few selections from the shelf to show you. As well as that, my partner has bought me something for my birthday. I kind of know what it is already. I do know what it is just because it's what I asked for. But I haven't opened it yet. So we might have a look at that as well. But first up, so you may know already that I have a love of like a particular era of toys, and you can kind of tell when I grew up because of the particular era of toys. So it's like the Ninja Turtles and Transformers were two of the biggest things for me. I don't have any of the Ninja Turtles here. There's a bunch of stuff in my office. Actually, if you uh actually don't have a link here, but my TikTok, I actually have do a little video office tour on my TikTok, and I show off some of the toys that I've got there. So some of my more high-end expensive Transformers and stuff are in there, as well as some of my Ninja Turtles and things like that. Is he saying you Googled an extensive list of hobbies and found some good lists with ideas for fun stuff? Jenny said, "Happy birthday." Thank you very much. It's not actually my birthday yet, but it's very soon. And Easy wants to get into photoshopping and making meme art. I think that would be pretty funny. Lots of good memes that can be made. Whatchamacallit, pandemic based memes, also Olympics based memes. So would be a lot of fun. So I've got next to me here, I've got some of my Transformers, which I'm gonna bring out and like play with a little bit. And I've got the box there that I haven't got my address on it. I hope that wasn't in focus. Oh, I find out if I just dox myself. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with this one. Have a look at the camera angle. So as you can see by the dust on this, it's actually pretty old. Light on? Maybe light on. It's just gonna make my face a little bit hazy because the duty cycle of the LEDs on my overhead lamp doesn't match up very well with this camera. The other camera seems to be dealing with it though, so let's go for it. So This is a particular line of Transformers known as alternators. And alternators were just a particular era of them where they were doing, I think if I remember correctly, this is a 1 to 40 scale car. And so some people do like model kits of cars in this scale. And so it's a very well known scale, but it's also, they're also Transformers. So you can do cool stuff with them. Let me just, this packaging has been opened before. So I'm just going to get it out. And this will be funny actually, because I don't even know if I've got the instructions and whether I do the full-on Transformers thing where you try to transform it without using the instructions. That's how you break things, but you know. So pretty high quality, high detailed car. There's two different lines in this. There's the Japanese line and the American line. This is one of the American ones. It's plastic. The Japanese ones actually had die-cast metal. In fact, let me get one of them out. There's this one here. Meister is the Japanese name for Jazz, one of the famous Transformers characters. Between the two of these, this one's much heavier because it's all die-cast metal. We might pop that one out in a second. But let's have a play. So most of these were basically just things that transform into robots. Oh, actually, maybe we will get Jazz out first, and I'll show you how the standard line of these toys worked. So you can see there on the box. Wait. I don't know if that's in focus. So they got lots of different characters there, but they were all, this particular line was like a kind of a collector's line with these high quality modern, they were modern. I think this is like 10, 15 years old, but it was like cars of a particular era. Jim says Beast Wars. I don't have any Beast Wars. I'm of a particular age where Beast Wars happened at a time where I was kind of like, I guess, mistakenly getting over toys, like where I thought I was getting over toys, but what I was really doing was just taking a break from them. And so Beast Wars has never really sat with my sat in my thoughts quite so much. But at the moment on Netflix, there's a Transformers special on. The what are they calling it? War for Cybertron. And the current one I think is Beast Wars. No, it's the other way around, Jim. I think I'm too old for Beast Wars because by then I had stopped playing with toys. Because what's Beast Wars is like 90s, isn't it? Because I think I was like I got into like Generation 1 Transformers. I was a kid when that was around. I It's always funny. Yeah, late 90s. By late 90s I was playing guitar and like, you know, going out and doing things that were entirely legal. Like I'm going to stop there before I say something. Yeah. Um so look, a little bit of underage drinking's not bad, you know. Okay. So Jazz here is an example of one of the standard ones in this line, and then this one Ravage, which I'll do second, is one that's kind of a very special one. So this is probably one of the rarest things that I have in my collection. It doesn't leave its box very often, as you could tell by the dust. So let's look at transforming Jazz here. I have a vague idea about what's going to happen. It's often like you can see, hang on. I'm gonna want to change the way that I'm filming this. Oh, this is so funny. I was about to like. So I got this thing right here. There's a tripod with bendy legs. What happens if I stick it on my head? Nah. That made me laugh for a second there. Just the possibility that I could do that. I think you're gonna have to have this angled view here. All right. So arms come out to here. I think the the hood, I'm pretty sure, is gonna flip over to the front because I can see the head here is going to be aimed forwards there. I have a feeling though that this floor of the car here, yeah, is going to fold forward first. So flip these seats down. I definitely can't remember how this works, but I'm doing what I can. Right, that looks like it's going to be the chest, and the arms are going to fold into that. This... We'll sort that out in a second. So the hood just got flipped up. Oh no, that's good. That's good. Crisis averted. These arms are definitely not looking correct. Oh, right. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yes. Okay. That arm goes like that. This arm goes like this. Let's reattach the hood of the car that I just popped off. At least these are built really nicely in a way that, whatchamacallit, in a way that makes it so that they pop off before they actually get damaged. Don't know if that's going back in correctly or not. It looks like it should go in there, this hood bit. But let's see. People want to make a new emote of me trying to put a camera on my head. Alright, let me just... I just need to get this hood actually back into place, but it doesn't seem like it wants to go. I'm gonna leave it up. I don't want to break it while I'm just like showing it off. I'm just gonna leave it slightly popped up like that. At least I've got the top half appears to be correct. Don't know if that's in focus or not. So let's look at the bottom half. Now, I reckon this is going to fold out. Oh no. Oh, I remember this. That's the gun is the exhaust pipe. I think I lost a piece of this years and years ago. Yeah, I lost the handle on the gun. Alright, let's figure out how this is going. Oh, there we go. Legs have now split in halves. Put seats back in. I don't know if this is exactly how it's supposed to be. I'm actually remembering some of this. So I remember these bits at the back. Yeah, they would go down. Oh, that's right. The hips fold up in like so. Okay, I'm gonna take the loose bit off for a second. Yep. Yes. Okay, let's tip that up a bit so you can see it. Yeah, this always felt like Transformers for adult collectors. Because it was like, yeah, pretty serious amount of work. Put that back on. So there he is. Jazz, one of the lieutenants of Optimus Prime's army, I guess. I don't know if you'd call them an army, kind of like freedom fighters or something. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and like I really enjoyed it because it's got this kind of like this heft and weight to it because it's the diecast, but it's also like this very kind of advanced and highly posable. Like all these joints are posable and stuff like that. So it's actually got way more in it than the old ones that I had as a kid. Um, so it's yeah, it's super cool. I collected a lot of these. I've got three more up in the shelf up there with these two here. I think that's all that I got of these. And I also have like an Optimus Prime in the same scale, so a very big one. It's called a Masterpiece Optimus Prime. And there's a whole Masterpiece line of Transformers, which is totally the thing that they do for basically people like me. So people who watch Transformers like Generation 1, because like I was what was Generation 1 of Transformers was like early 80s. I think it was like 84, 83, 84 or something like that. So I was a kid at that point and really got into it. And so a lot of this stuff is marketed to people who have that nostalgia when they're a kid and then they're happy to put down big money for things now that they're an adult. So I feel like that's me walking right into that kind of trap. Okay, so here's Ravage. And if you know your Transformers, you will recognize the name Ravage as actually being one of the cassettes. So there were some Transformers that there was Soundwave, very very famous Transformer who's like a beatbox, boombox. Beatbox is just a human. And Ravage was one of his cassettes who transformed from the cassette into a panther. And so this thing, instead of transforming into like a humanoid robot like that, is going to transform into a panther. If I can do it correctly. Let's see how it goes. It's always like the start is always like, okay, which one of these bits is going to fold out first? Should probably look at the instructions. But you know, too late. We're doing it. Worked okay for Jazz. I only broke one piece of it. I'm going to have to figure out how that goes back in later. So I'm just gingerly looking at all the different angles here and saying, okay, which one of these is the one that's going to go first? It looks like there's a hinge there. Like the whole thing could, like, the whole car could just kind of snap down like that, I think. But, like, I don't want to just go and, like, try to force it in that direction. All right. I've got a paw. A paw came out, which means there will be one on the other side. I wonder if that paw unlocks something. Yep. Okay. Yep. I think I've got back legs coming out now. Many of them said I feel like I would have broken it by now. Lol. I think I'm being careful with it because I don't want to break it. This is actually like out of production collector's item, so definitely don't want to break it. All right, so we've got this little thing folding out like that. And it looks like, based on these hinges, that these things are going to fold inwards as well. But I don't know when. I think I need to get this back leg assembly kind of out first. Oh, okay, okay. I think it looked like the back, the boot was going to lift out, but I don't think it does yet. There you go. I've separated the boot from the other bits, and I'm pretty sure these things are going to swivel out at some point to form the back legs, if I can figure out how. Actually feels like this whole thing is going to flip open, but I'm not sure. Jim's like, I can't watch. I remember like having a good instinct for these back in the day, and I could transform them without needing instructions or anything like that. All right, okay. Figured out how to get those two rockets out. There's a swivel joint in there, which makes me feel like this entire side of the car swivels out, but I can't figure out how to get that going. So I will not try to force that. But I'm pretty sure that's the back legs. Hashtag nailed it. Okay, okay. So I've got like these side rockets, but there's also something else. Ah, I got it. Okay, okay. There's the whole boot coming out. And there's a tail. So I've got that bit sorted. Now these legs are free. That feels a bit stiff. I'm not going to try to push them very far. Having said that, I feel like they're already in a decent position to be the back legs of this panther. So let's pop the hood. Alright, I've got a head here, but I'm not sure where it comes out. Ah, there you go. The whole hood slid forward and up, which is going to allow the front legs to get loose. I don't know how the focus is on that camera. It doesn't look like it's perfect. Alright, so I've got these front legs, but obviously they're going to need to be on some kind of swivel here. Right. Just gonna unhook. Yeah, okay, okay. Unhook the front panels. I don't know how much of this you can actually see. And then the sides of the car fold down. And yes, there we go. There's that front leg. So sides of the car are loose. They fold down. Front leg snaps in that direction. And we're starting to look a bit like a four-legged animal now. I'm going to assume that these go up. That, I don't know where this hood ends up, but maybe if I just turn it backwards like that. Yes, this is totally working. Okay, rockets go up. There's a tail there. I don't know if that's exactly how it's supposed to be, but I think it's going to be something like that. Let me look for pictures on the box. There's a picture on the box, and I'll turn it the same direction. Oh! Calamity! I'll knock over my camera and knock over a bunch of other things. I think that's actually pretty much correct. Yeah, just try to get it on camera. So there it is. Ravage in the panther form. Antarctican, yeah, it's meant to be a panther. And it's like we've sort of manipulated the car bits to end up in this shape. Nicole said you thought it was a dog. Yeah, I think the only thing that makes it a panther is that this head is a little bit cat-like. I mean, it still actually looks like a dog. The only thing that's weird about it is this whole top half of a car that has tried to like tried to kind of hide it away. I feel like the humanoid robot over here of Jazz kind of works better in its transformation. But still, they're both still pretty cool. Yeah, so that's like some of the stuff that I used to play with. This stuff actually for me often just sits in its boxes. And this kind of thing where I'll spend hundreds of dollars on like high-end toys like this, and then they'll just live in their boxes for years. So I felt like this was a good excuse actually to get them out and actually transform them. I've probably lowered their value as collector's items by doing that, but don't really care. I was never getting these with the intention of selling them again or anything like that. They were always like mine to play with. So yeah, these are this is Binoltech, I think is the Japanese name for the die-cast ones, and Alternators, the American name for the plastic ones. Yeah, so these are kind of like, I guess you'd call them like adult toy Transformers, I guess. Yeah, but I have a lot of fun with them. Well, used to. Nowadays, I haven't gotten these out for years. Um, but yeah, they're kind of cool, and it's fun to collect this stuff sometimes. Oh, that rocket fell off. I assume they're supposed to do that. All right, I'm gonna put these aside. So yeah, there's a couple of things, and on the theme of Transformers, let me continue the theme of Transformers and show you this one that I have. I think I've shown it on stream before, but not actually gotten it out to play with it or anything. This is Predaking. So this is second generation Transformers. And it appears that I like the animal Transformers or something. I'm not sure how that necessarily works, but like this was, do you remember Devastator? Devastator was a really famous first combiner transformer. I've actually got one back there. I didn't get the Devastator out this time because I wasn't as confident of being able to actually transform it within the time frame of the stream. So I could obviously just use the instructions instead of just mangling them and stuff. But yeah, so this one I've got here, I actually had part of it when I was a kid. I had, I think, 3 of the 5, and I never collected all 5. And that was just like this sad point from my youth where, you know, you want the full set, but you just never get the full set because like there's only so much you can try to convince your parents to drop a whole bunch of money on you and your toys. So obviously, I become an adult and I find this thing and I say, yes, it is time. I will purchase a reissue of the entire thing. Let me aim the camera at this thing as I pop the lid. Plastic. That's upside down. Oh well. So again, these don't come out of their box very often either. I was actually thinking of getting this whole set out. Let me turn it around so it's the right way up. Chewy said, "You just tuned in. What are we doing today? We're talking about stuff in lockdown, and so I'm getting a bunch of my toys out to play with, just to show you. So Predaking was second generation Transformers. So first generation is like Optimus Prime and Megatron and all them, and then second generation they started getting a little bit more. They're adding a few more things in. Like this is still like kind of original Transformers." This particular toy is not an original, but a reissue. Because like I've lost or maybe sold in garage sales and stuff like that the originals of this. So we've got these five. I'm gonna get them out and put them on the desk. And they're called Predacons because they're animals. It's really funny because they're not actually predators. Like half of them aren't predators. But anyway, there's a lion and a tiger. There's no stripes on it, but apparently that's what it is. A bull, a rhinoceros. I'm running out of space in the camera shot to show you these. Let me just tip that down a little. Try to do that without knocking over the tripod again. And an eagle. Eagle doesn't stand up that great on its own. And one of the cool things about this is, like, there's actually heaps of stuff in here. They each of them got their own guns and swords and all this kind of stuff. But the key element here is not just the cool animals, and each of them transforms into a robot. I'm not gonna go through and transform each one into a robot. But they form together into one big robot called Predaking. So that's what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna consult the instructions for this one. Because transforming them between like an animal and the robot is probably not going to be too hard, but putting them together, like making them into arms and legs, is a little bit harder to see and understand. Okay, so get some space here, move these out of the way because the lion is the body. Twarker's like, not gonna lie, a lot of thought must have gone into these toys to make them work. Yeah, 100%. These are the kinds of things that, like, this is the peak of Japanese engineering, I reckon, was toys. Okay, so it's going to trying to figure out which way is going to be the front. I reckon this is going to be a full rotation. Yeah. Oh, do you know about these stickers? These are like the Transformers heat stickers. Where are we? And if you rub these until they warm up, it's a bit cold, and like let me find one that's actually easier to reach. Yeah, this one. Actually, this one's right on the top. Oh, I think the top layer just peeled off that. Okay, rubbing it. It's heat sensitive. Oh, you totally can't see it. It's not focusing on it. Anyway, when you rub it, you can't see it. Oh well. There was a Decepticon logo there, but you can't see it. Oh well. Okay, so let's look at how this turns into the body of Predaking. Wobo said favorite Gunpla. I haven't done enough Gunpla to know, I think, which one would be my favorite. Okay, so we're gonna flip. See, that's the normal robot head. The normal robot head's actually pretty small. The giant robot head just fits over the top of it. So, normal robot head for the individual robot, but when they all form together, they get this giant head. Okay. Okay, that's folded up. I don't know if we do anything with the legs on the back. But anyway, here's a torso. Alright. Legs. So we've got the rhino is going to be one of the legs. I'm not sure. I think they went from robot form. All right, okay. The hip slides out. So I've got to, yep, pull that, slides out. And then the legs are going to tuck in. Actually, they're not even going to tuck in. They're just going to fold up into that space. Those feet slide in. And the rhino head aims forward like so. And I know it goes into one of these gigantic cannon feet. I think this one slides into this one. Just gonna have to see how the... Right, it's the other way around. Yeah. Actually don't know how that... Oh, right. See the little rhino, the bottom half of the rhino legs need to fold back up into there, but I need to slide them back first. There we go. There we go. All right. And this was up this way. This goes in here, and I think that these legs then slide back in. Okay. There's one leg, partially in the shape of a rhino. The other leg now is the bull. So just fold its legs down. I've got to figure out where the best place is for me to actually be on camera for this. It's actually here. Here. Okay. I feel like this is going to be the same. Yeah. Long hip assembly so I can fold the legs in. Put that back in. Turn the head. I think the head's actually going to come forwards this way. So then we got that cool ram head there. And then we've got the other leg. So with those two legs, we can actually attach the torso. by sliding it into these posts on both of the legs. That clicks in. Oops. What was that sound? Oh no. It's totally got a catch. Everything's just kind of bounced. Oh yeah, that actually went in quite easily. Okay, so now backing off a bit, we are standing up here with the torso on two legs. So coming together. All right, put this over here, and the other two are going to be the arms. So we will first we take the eagle and we remove its wings, because these wings are obviously going to look really, really cool on the back of the giant robot. So I'll put the wings down there. Find some hands. The big robot has these giant spiky fist hands. And they're going to go out of the way in between the legs of each of these two. So just got to figure out, this is going to be spun around like so. And the eagle is the left arm. So I'm going to put the left hand in here. So if I remember correctly, we can swivel these legs a little bit. So get one post in there, and then swivel these back together. Yep. So there we have one arm. Oh, it looks like it's got a post there that's going to stick into the torso. So I think that's all we need to do for that arm. Yes. Okay, so let me get the big one again. It's all about juggling camera angles here. Okay, so the big one, and one of its arms, it's going to go on there. So I'll just move this to the side for a second. I'm going to need both hands to stick this arm on, but I'll show you the result once it's there. All right. So we're getting there. We've got two legs, a torso, one arm. I don't know if that's exactly how that arm's supposed to go in, but I think it's okay. I know it's supposed to swivel, but I don't know which. I'm not going to try to swivel that. Swiveling that could break it. Okay. So we've got one arm. Now we've got the other arm is going to be made out of this tiger. So I think we need to just straighten this up. Turn that a bit so you can see it. Fold the legs all the way in so that they're not hanging out of the way. These ones are just going to have to fold down, I think. Yep. Also has a post that's going to stick into the arm there. And we will attach the spiky fist. All right, there we go. Spiky fist is in. Swivel this head down on the outside so that the tiger head is aiming outwards. Makes it look cool. All right. Getting closer. We've got the head, both arms, both legs on. Cool stuff. To make it look cooler is to give it a giant set of golden wings coming out of its shoulders, because everyone loves giant golden shoulders. Make that look cool. I'll show you. Yes. Look at me. I am shiny and impressive. The foil stickers really make it. Okay. We have a big gun. We also have... Here's the pack that I just pulled out of the box. Swords and guns. Everyone gets swords and guns. There's also this giant gun here. So, the big gun, if I remember correctly, goes on this side, and it attaches to the, attaches there to the bird. So we've got a big gun on the left hand, and I think we have a sword in the right hand, but I'm not sure if it's one of these swords or if there's a bigger one. It doesn't appear to be a bigger one in the box. So I guess it's one of these. That feels like it's a bit small. Why do you have a tiny sword? Okay, so this is Predaking. It's got a whole bunch of gold and black and orange. It's got guns, and it's got like these animal heads all around it and everything. Yeah, super cool. There's like a, you know, I don't know, I can't remember how old I was. There's like an 8 to 10-year-old version of me just going, yeah! But, I think it's funny. I think it's funny just because, like, for me to have owned this as a kid would have just been preposterous. It's just like, how much money are we spending on a toy? But, you know, as a full-grown adult, yes, that's how much money I'm spending on a toy. Thank you very much. I'm in lockdown. I can spend whatever I want. Yeah. So let's get back on camera again. Yes. Get those giant wings. Yeah. Oh, you can actually see the camera feed. That's my stream feed up there on the other monitor. But yeah. These things were like the ultimate in the Transformers. Like, you'd have your Transformers, you have all your little ones, and like, that's cool. And then, like, you'd bust out one of these, and just like, this is like the massive kind of like massive boss fight, basically, in Transformers. There's actually a game that has a, as far as I know, it's like a Devil May Cry style gameplay. It may even be made by the people who made Devil May Cry, I'm not sure. Called Transformers Devastation. I've played it a little bit, but not that much, and it's really, really based on these early cartoons. Maybe I should fire that up at some point. I'll have to actually reinstall it. It's been on my Steam from years and years ago, and I haven't really played around with it. So anyway, that's some of my toys. I'll put this off to the side. I'm gonna have to spend ages packing all this stuff up afterwards. It's part of the fun, though. As you can see, unfortunately, Chicken is not here for Chicken Cam at the moment. Chicken Cam is currently, like, other Transformers Cam. Alright. I'm gonna put Predaking down there. Actually, this would be really funny. Because it'll be like, there you go. Chicken, you've been replaced. You've been replaced by toys. Okay. So, one other thing that we received recently in the mail, which was my birthday present. So let's get that out now, and I'll show you what that is. Mm. More, more like you can see the era now. You're getting the idea of the era that Mark is from. Let's try to get that lamp out of the way for the moment. Um, Actually, I'll just turn it off so you can see this. Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core. So this is uh, a board game based on the Aliens movie. Anyone who was in lectures with me knows that I've quoted this at least once in lectures. I think it was when we were talking about debugging. Um, and it's very much like this is the James Cameron film. Lots of guns, lots of aliens, but then also lots of humans not necessarily winning against the aliens. So it's like, I don't know what you'd call it, action thriller. Those of you who've seen the movie, worth watching if you haven't seen it. A lot of practical effects in the movie, so it just predates CG. I think the advent of CG in movies is Jurassic Park, and Aliens predates it by a year or two. Um, because it's practical effects, it actually holds up really well. Like it holds up like you don't necessarily get better practical effects now than they got then. So it's actually a movie that didn't age as badly as some of the early CG films did. So this is a board game. The nice thing about it is a cooperative board game, which means that if I end up playing on my own, I won't have to play against myself, which I find is super weird. I can't really play board games against myself. But if it's a cooperative game and I'm just kind of controlling multiple people, then like you can totally do it. Probably try to convince my partner to play with me as well. Okay, so it's a bit of no, it's not actually torn. I'm just figuring out where to start. I think people do that for unboxings and stuff like that, where they have like a particular knife that they use for the unboxing. I've just got my craft knife here that I use for like working with miniatures and stuff like that, which means it's going to go through this plastic shrink wrap real easy. So let's go over here, cut a bit of that. Careful not to touch the box with it. And then we can start unwrapping the plastic. I can totally see why people get into unboxing things. This is so funny though. I'm having to hold the camera in one hand. I feel like this is not my forte, being able to hold the camera and work on stuff at the same time. What do people do with this? Do they have like a tripod set up? Like maybe like over their shoulder or something like that? That's actually a decent shot over the shoulder. Oh, hang on. Okay, let's see if this works. Why is that swiveling? Need to tighten some of the bits on my tripod. Okay. It's a little bit far out, but it's sort of working. Just ha 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 ha. That half works. Okay, it's a little bit out of focus, but it kind of works. Like, hello. I just put it up on top of my computer. So, go my other camera. You can see that is where the camera is now on top of my computer. So so hilarious. This is me and my hilarious kind of budget streaming rig. But actually, this would have been a better view for when I was working on Predaking. All right, getting rid of the shrink wrap. Put that down there for the moment. Izzy 2 marks. Yeah, that's how I can get all that work done for UNSW. There's actually me and a clone. We're just mirrored at the moment. Okay. Ah. The smell. The fresh cardboard smell. It's so lovely. I always love that when I get a new board game or something like that. Okay, so we've got a rule book here. This is just gonna be the how to play stuff. It looks like we have some thin cardboard bits. Can't really see it, but this is mission one something. Oh, this is going to be the layout of each mission, I assume. Assembly guides. So it looks like the miniatures here are in multiple parts, and I will have to build them. I think for some people this could be quite daunting for a board game, but obviously for me, who's like a miniatures fanatic, this is probably like, this looks quite easy compared to some of the things that I usually do. So some assembly guides there. Bits of cardboard. So these are all going to be the things that are popped out and become the tokens to play the game. Some dials and spinners and stuff. So from what I've read of the game, you use the dials to track how accurate your Marines are. So they have a certain skill with their shooting, and the more they shoot when they go full auto, they get less accurate. So you have to turn the dial and stuff. Ooh, there's a sentry gun here as well, which should be fun. More stuff. It looks like there's character things here. That's Newt. I don't know how much use Newt is going to be, but maybe because she can escape the aliens, she's actually kind of useful. As opposed to plenty of the Marines who found it hard to make it through the movie. Okay, who have we got here? Vasquez, Gorman, and Frost. So that's some of the characters. Let me just, yeah, there you go. I don't know how well that's focused at the moment. Like, that's not that in focus, is it? Like, I don't think you're going to see stuff in great detail. Where's it focused? Is it focused, like, on my head? Yeah, it's focused on my head. Lovely. I don't know if I have control over that. Not really. That's okay. Alright. We've got Ripley, obviously. Main character. And Hicks and Hudson. So, three of the most iconic characters on this board. This looks like play area. Tunnels, rooms, stuff. Ooh, alien hive. This one's got like all that kind of alien resin and stuff. That's cool. More boards. Makes sense. Lots of different boards so that you can make different missions. From what I've heard of this game, it's a kind of a campaign game, so you'd play multiple missions in a row to try to finish it. Ooh, here we have these shinies. Alright, I'm gonna put this stuff on the ground. I can't believe I'm doing an unboxing. I remember when people first started doing unboxings, I was like, why would you do that? You're just unwrapping something. But I'm like, this is quite exciting because I have not seen this. So, here we have the sprues up close and personal. So each one of them has a base with a bit of decking and even their name on it. You can see that says Newt there. That one says Frost. So that's quite nice. You should be able to remember who you're playing because it's written on these. I will probably paint these. It's always like, for me, it's like, I'll want to paint things, but whether I'm going to get around to painting them is another story. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 characters in this, which is going to cover most of the main characters in the film. And now we have a sprue of aliens. Hard to see there how the sprue works, but it looks like it looks quite well detailed. Like, it looks like a really fine detailed plastic. So these are going to come up quite nice. I don't know how much time and effort I'm going to put into painting these because it looks like there's quite a few aliens here. There's 4 per sprue and there's 4 sprues of them. So there's 16 aliens here. That's going to take me some time to paint if I try to go too carefully. Got some dice. 1 6-sided dice and 2 10-sided dice. Don't exactly know how they work yet, but, you know, we'll see. I'm sure in the rules, the different dice will be used for different things. Got some cards. It looks like most of the stuff here is actually photos from the film. The iconic motion tracker from Aliens. And some more cards. I won't bother going through the cards. I don't think you can see them that closely, but here's one of them. The M41A pulse rifle. That's like the standard gun that they use. So cost 3, don't know what that is, but yeah. Cool. I'll play it sooner or later. But I think I have to learn how the game works. I've got some building to do with the miniatures, potentially painting. Um, I may end up just painting the ones that I like Vasquez and Hicks and Ripley and stuff. Having said that, most of these are like main characters, so I may paint all of these. The aliens, I'll maybe get away with not painting them because they're just black, and the aliens are kind of black anyway. Um, Nick saying slowly seeing more board games include some of the detailed sprues minis. Clearly they've worked out. It makes the games look good. Yeah, totally. Um, I think a lot of the push is coming from a company called Simon, which was originally this company called Cool Mini or Not. And they had a lot of high quality minis. Zombicide, I think, was one of the first that did that. Oh, Tawaka's heading out. See you later, Tawaka. Thanks for coming along. Um, yeah, and so I mean, this is much higher quality than I expected. Like, just needs a bit of mold line cleanup. It's the good hard plastic, similar to like what you'd expect from like Warhammer and stuff like that. Um, but the details are really crisp. They're crisp and clean. This actually looks like, a lot of the time when I look at board games, and I look at the minis that come with board games, they're in this kind of softer PVC, and they're molded all as one piece per character, which means that their poses are really kind of static. Um, this, however, looks like something that I would genuinely want to paint, like regardless of it being um, in a board game or not. Just the design and the production quality is really high on these. Um, Considering you've got 16 aliens and 7 characters in a um in a setup that's kind of like, I actually don't know how much this game costs because it was bought for me, but I'm going to assume that this whole board game, including all the rules and all the art and everything, costs about as much as like one box of Space Marines. So it's quite impressive to have this level of detail because usually they'd have to cut corners on the production of the minis. But just looking at it, the details really, really clean, and really even the small details are coming up quite nicely. So I think this is going to look really nice. All right. I don't think I have anything else left to unbox here, unless I want to start going through the cards and stuff. But I don't think that's that interesting because I don't really have the camera set up for that. But I'm excited. This game looks really cool. It looks like something that I actually like. I was just gonna kind of get it to play because I love the franchise, and this is a very pleasant surprise to see how good the miniatures are. Might mean I'll end up painting these, um, which could be a whole lot of fun. All right, I'm gonna put this away. Fun times. There is one other thing that I've been working on that I can show you. Let me bring this camera back down to. Oh, oops, this bit's the Aliens board game is still out. That was like assembly instructions for the miniatures, which I'm probably going to need. Zoom that back out. So something that I've been working on recently. Um, Let me show you because I bought 2 of these. There's one that's in its box still. Um, Big Space Marines. Um, What's saying Nick? So, yeah, alternatively, it's a sign of Games Workshop's upmarking. Yeah, Games Workshop's quite expensive stuff. And Chewy's saying, can I show you some of the games that I made? That would be cool. Um, I'm not really sure if any of the games, like computer games that I've made, are even in any kind of playable form at the moment, because I have made years and years ago, and I haven't made anything recently. So hard to show you stuff when I don't have much to show, unfortunately. Having said that, here's something slightly different I can show you. So very, very large Space Marine. For example, here's one of the ones that I was working on stream even a while ago. So that's actually a larger than normal size Space Marine. And this one's a much, much larger than normal size Space Marine. So I bought two of these, and I've been preparing one for painting. So this one's still in its box. I have ideas for what I want to do with this one, but I'm going to get to it later. So that one's sort of just packed away. This is my first time getting into action figure painting, which is a whole different world from miniature painting. And I'll show you the prep as it stands at the moment. It's quite funny. Is I've pulled it apart. So all the different bits and pieces, there's the chest and stuff, but I've not just pulled it apart. I got a friend of mine to 3D print me some bits and pieces. So I got a slightly different helmet. So this helmet has got some laurels on it. It's a particular helmet that fits with the chapter of Space Marines that I play in the game. And a shoulder with the... Let me turn that light down a little. You kind of can't see it anyway. Where's the focal point? Back out here somewhere. Anyway, it's the fist logo on the shoulder, which is the same as... Totally not going to be able to see this. The fist logo that I've painted on that shoulder there. So it's gonna fit in the same army basically. Printed off a big fist as well, so that's gonna basically be attached to this arm like so. So it actually even sticks in there on its own, just held in by friction. But I will probably do some sanding around there so this fits in nice and snug, and then glue this in place, because I figure that the big fist is not going to come off. I'm not going to bother taking it off, and I may glue it on. It just depends whether I glue it on before or after I paint it. It may be easier to glue it on before, because then I just don't have to do as much painting there. So yeah, it's going to have a big punchy fist with this 3D printed shoulder. So a little bit of customization, not a huge amount, but a little bit. And I'm going to be painting it very similarly to the way that I painted the mini on stream that I did, which was the metallic blue that I was doing. So it's gonna fit the army in the same way as. So actually, I'll get. Find one that's the closest. Is like this guy here who has the big punchy fist and the shoulder and stuff. He has the gun just sort of slung over his shoulder. This one doesn't really have that capability. So the gun's just going to be held in the other hand. But it's going to be similar to this. This is like the sergeant of one of my squads. This big one is going to be kind of like a sergeant in a squad as well. Yeah. So that's the stuff that I'm doing. Stuff that I will be doing during lockdown, other than playing computer games, which I'll obviously be doing a fair bit. I have a couple of friends I'm playing Deep Rock Galactic with, which is fun. I have another friend who just got Borderlands 3 for the first time. So um we go way back. We've been friends for years. Her her favorite thing is like Fallout and Skyrim kind of games. So Borderlands is kind of, but not exactly like those. But it's pretty funny because we have moments where we just stop and we go, all right, let's loot the entire level. We're gonna open up all the boxes and everything. We can go find stuff and loot it. I'm just like, yes. You're totally like a Skyrim Fallout player, and it's like there could be stuff in any of these boxes. So we have a fun time. We go around. So she's going through the story for the first time, and I've played, as I think I've shown you before with Borderlands. I've got like 22 days of playtime, so it's fun because what I do is I play with her, but I'm making sure that I don't say anything about the story and I don't interact with the story. So she gets to experience the story, but we play some co-op. And her sister's been joining us as well. So 3-player, it's pretty cool. It's a very chaotic Borderlands 3-player. It was a lot of fun. Um, oh, Jack has been playing Into the Breach. Very, very cool. Into the Breach is a very, very interesting game. It's kind of like, it's one of those games that like when you're playing it, you just go, yeah, this was designed. It was just put together really nicely and just feels really good. Um, and when you win, you win, and when you lose, you're like, oh, I see how I got outplayed, and you start to try to get better. And it's quick enough that you can turn around and start again and learn again what to do. So I think that's really cool. Chewy said, have you tried Skyrim together? I haven't. I didn't know there was a multiplayer mod for Skyrim. I've never actually been that deep into Skyrim. I think there's something about it. There's other games that I get into more. Even though like Fallout 3 I got into heaps, but I think there was some storyline in that hooked me. Like the gameplay I didn't mind either way, but it was the story that hooked me. So there's this kind of back and forth like that. Um Borderlands story hooks me a bit, but also just the collecting of gear and building up multiple characters with multiple builds and stuff like that is fun. There's nothing quite as fun as like a talent tree and trying to modify the talent tree to get something cool out of it. Oh, Nick was saying I could kit bash one of these big models into a budget Titan without paying Forge World prices, and also technically using Games Workshop models. That's pretty funny. I did actually think of, when I finished building this thing, actually running it as an Imperial Knight in my army, because it'll be around the same size and it'll just be really funny to do that. Like, give its weapon loadout the same thing and just walk this action figure around the table like it's a like it's a miniature. I think you'd have to be playing against an opponent who's happy to laugh at the silliness of doing that, and not someone who wants to take their game seriously, because you're kind of ruining the immersion by dropping the big space marine on it. Yeah, Chewy was saying that you're having fun with a mate doing a full playthrough. It's a bit buggy, but it's pretty good for a mod. And saying that the multiplayer mods, this is talking about the Skyrim mod, um, they're always buggy, but they're better than nothing. I've actually been playing a bit of Slime Rancher with my partner. Like, Slime Rancher looks like a game that would be really good co-op, and we found a co-op mod that works. Um, the the physics and stuff is a bit fiddly with two people, but it actually works. Because it's like a Unity engine game, which means like the netcode's already written. You can basically flick a switch and turn it on. It's not that simple, but nearly. And so we've been enjoying that. It's kind of fun farming our slimes and exploring this little world. I think like having loved Satisfactory and co-op Satisfactory and stuff, some of those kind of building games like that are a lot of fun. I get into those. Um, Izzy's saying apparently for like Fallout Outer Worlds is really good, made by some of the same people. I keep seeing it. It pops up on my lists, so it pops up on my recommended lists and stuff like that. So I can fully understand that Outer Worlds is worth getting into. I keep avoiding it in sales, even though it pops up, because I'm at this point now where I'm like, you're not allowed. So I said to myself, over Christmas, I bought a bunch of stuff in the Steam sale. I have not even installed some of them. Uh, and so until I install and play those, I'm not allowed to buy anything new. So I'm gonna hold myself to that. Meanwhile, just playing Genshin anyway. So Having said that, there's one thing that I am gonna buy when it comes out, which is the Aliens Fireteam Elite, because like you can tell from what I just unboxed that I'm a huge Aliens fan. It's a co-op shooter. It's like a Left 4 Dead style shooter, um, set in the Aliens universe, and that's coming out in like I want to say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think. Just looked at the date. I think it's 3 weeks. It's coming out, so we're still going to be locked down when it comes out. So it's going to be worth, even if it's not good, it's going to be worth playing. So that I will probably break my don't buy anything rule for that one, because like when it's multiplayer, you want to buy something so you can play with your friends. Oh, Nick is saying wish you could do Into the Breach multiplayer of some sort. It would be really interesting to either have a co-op thing where you take different islands at the same time and you come together for a boss fight, or play against each other. Based games, like you playing against other people in a turn-based game, it's totally doable. Oh, my stream is frozen. I don't know if you can still hear me there, but oh, my computer's done the thing that it does. I'm just gonna wait for it to come back up. I'm gonna assume that you can still hear my voice, because every time this happens, you can still hear my voice. But my graphics card encoding things just gives up the ghost every now and then. Am I back yet? I'm just waiting for YouTube to tell me that the stream is back up, but we'll see how we go. I know that last time I did this, you could hear me the whole way through, right? I should probably do something about that, because I don't know what's going on there. I assume it's some kind of hardware issue, because when it happens, both of my monitors lose picture, but as you said, the audio keeps going the whole way through. So my CPU is fine and it's continuing running. It's like my GPU is just resetting. So that would be an interesting thing. I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that and find out why that's happening, because I like what do we get to today? 90 minutes before that happened. 2 weeks ago, I think it was 45 minutes, and that happened. So I have to figure out what it is. Maybe I should do software encoding or something like that instead. So it's a bit weird. Yeah. Anyway, I'm back, so it's okay. Yeah. So Jack said, oh, we're talking about Into the Breach multiplayer. The difficulty with Into the Breach multiplayer is that enemies telegraph their attack and then do it. Yeah. So it would be really hard to do two people against each other. I think the game would lose a lot of its charm, because it's a puzzle game, It's not a tactical fighting game. It's a puzzle game where you can see all of the situation that's going to pan out, and you need to manipulate the world so that it does what you need it to do. So, yeah. Chewie's asking if my drivers are up to date. Yeah, my drivers are up to date. I mean, the funny thing about it is I could turn on a game like Borderlands, Deep Rock Galactic, Genshin Impact. Those are the games I've been playing recently. They'll run for like hours. Like, don't want to say exactly how long I play for in one go, but like those games I've been running reliably for like 4 or 5 hours at a time. But that's the graphics card working in a different way. So streaming is an encoding thing, and that's different work than rendering. So maybe there's something different. Maybe the encoding chip on the card is doing different work from the other stuff, and that's the thing where the hardware failure is. But I don't know. I'll poke at it a little bit, but it's sort of like it doesn't feel like a big enough problem for me to need to really do anything about it. I wouldn't want to start taking my computer apart for that, because all my games are still working. So we'll see how we go. Oh yeah, Trent's asking about the temperature. Temperature's never a problem when I'm streaming, because I have looked at that before, because I was wondering if the fan was running or not. But like my streaming temps, they're rarely breaking 40-45 degrees. So before the crash, then it was actually 38 degrees. It's actually up to 45 degrees now. I think it's because my fan settings have changed. Yeah, I have custom fan settings. Um, because my fan actually makes more noise on my graphics card when it stops and starts, and the default thing allows it to stop entirely when it's not working that hard. So at the moment, yeah, my GPU wasn't before that crash wasn't breaking 40 degrees, so it was cool enough that you could have touched it and it wouldn't really have been a problem. Um, so I know it's not a heat issue, but it is weird because it's like after a certain amount of time, it gives up on things. So don't know why. Yeah. Um, so what are people saying there? Yeah, Chewy's saying maybe you in OBS change the encoding from GPU to CPU. Yeah, I reckon if I just load up my CPU, it'll be fine. And I think my CPU can handle it. I don't think it's going to be a problem. So, and I don't think you'll notice. Well, you'll probably notice that I don't crash if I do that. So maybe that's good. Um, Trent saying you had the same issue. Oh, so you actually had a graphics card resetting issue? Or is it, oh, no, the issue of the fan clicking. Yeah, I know, right? I was totally getting that. Like, when my fan speed was below 40%, the fan would turn off entirely. And then when it would warm up a bit and it turn on, it'd be like, as it started up. It was like this little, like it was rubbing against something when it started up, even though those things don't rub. And if they do, you know. Um, and so it was like it would turn off, and then it would get above 40 degrees, and it would go and spin up, and then it would turn off, and it would go and spin up again. I was like, can you stop making that sound? Like you're a foot away from my head. I don't want you to make that weird rattling noise once every like 3 minutes. It's like there's a form of torture using those kinds of things. So it was like, yeah, I definitely don't want that to be happening. So what I did was I set my fan thing so that the minimum was it was always on. So it's on a very quiet level 100% of the time. So it's actually making the card cooler. But the reset has got to be something else. Like it's got to be some configuration or settings or something like that, because graphics card's totally fine for games. It's just weird every now and then in streaming, but not even that often. So yeah, weird stuff. Yeah. So I think Trent had the same thing. And Antarctican's using noise canceling headphones with your laptop all the time. Oh, I found laptops, especially if you're gaming on a laptop. I used to do that because like I bought a laptop so I could teach with it, and I was teaching people how to make games. So I was moving around with this big, heavy laptop. And over time, the fans got louder and louder and louder because they're very small fans, so they wear out. So after about 3 years, they were just like rattling and noisy and just a big kind of whirring and rattling sound, and they needed to spin up a lot because I assume the thermal paste had gotten old inside the laptop, and I hadn't actually been bothered pulling the whole thing apart to repaste it because it was like, oh, that's a serious amount of effort. You got like, you have to pull the keyboard out of the laptop, pull the back out of it, and all this kind of stuff. So I ended up buying a whole new computer instead. But now it's nice. It runs well. It's quiet. It's got a whole lot of RGB. The only downside is it crashes when I'm streaming. So we'll see about that. I'll change some settings for next time. Yeah, Easy was saying your laptop gets mistaken for a hairdryer or a vacuum cleaner. Yeah. Um, my laptop when I was working with it, I remember Tom and Jashank who were assisting me. They were like Tom is the admin and Jashank just helping out. I think at one point, when I was working on my laptop, they were they were laughing at it. I just realized that camera had been off that whole time because I hadn't reconnected. So that's a clue. If that stopped and had to be reconnected, maybe it's the droid cam that's connecting to my phone that's crashing something. I don't know. I don't know how that thing could shut down my graphics card, but anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, and like when I first started using my laptop, they were like, "Is that like aircraft noise?" And it's like my laptop's like, and it's like, yeah. super super loud. So I'm much happier gaming on a desktop nowadays. Like even though I can hear the fans on the desktop, they're much bigger fans that can push more air without having to spin as fast. Makes it nicer. Sam saying you do use a dedicated laptop for gaming, but you use a Mac for your coding and general use. Yeah, totally. I found the other thing that works as well with a laptop is to get a separate set of fans, or like elevate the laptop like off the desk, and then a separate set of fans underneath blowing at it worked pretty well. Um, Once the laptop got older, and it kind of needed that. And there are other things as well, like undervolting your CPU and stuff, so it just puts less heat into the system. I was fiddling around with all that kind of stuff to try to get as much performance as I could while technically underclocking my hardware. So it's just like, I think there's the laptops you're just fighting heat at the same time as trying to get good performance. Whereas when you're overclocking something like a desktop PC, you're just like, if I'm still going to start fighting heat for this thing, then I'm just going to pump more fans into it. You know, more fans or liquid cooling and stuff like that. Whereas with a laptop, you're already at your limit for thermal issues, and so you've got to like reduce power until it's kind of safe to use. Antarctican saying you might do the illegal mod where you attach a thermal pad to the aluminium base and it improves thermal capacity. Yeah, I think people would do that totally. Um, And Chewie's like, isn't Jashank still a student? Imagine doing a group project with him. Yeah, he is. And it's quite funny seeing someone like that, someone who has lectured, who has done a lot of subject admin work and stuff like that. Most everyone who you'll meet as a subject admin is probably going to be in a class at some point. So if you do high level classes, you might run into them. Um, yeah, Antarctic is saying you downgrade the BIOS so that you can unlock undervolting, so you can get rid of like the security that stops you from being able to do that. Yeah, I think that's always the tough thing is any once you start kind of reprogramming the bits and pieces that run your hardware, then you immediately have invalidated your warranty, and you've got to be more careful with it. So I don't usually screw around with a computer until it's old enough that I could replace it if I had to. So this computer's still running stock. Well, when I say stock, I mean like it's not. I've still customized it, but I'm not aggressively doing anything to it. So like I'm running MSI Afterburner to control fan speeds and stuff like that. And I fiddle with the CPU fan speed because the Ryzen has a really awkward issue of spiking its temperature. Like if you look at the graph of a Ryzen's temperature, it's not a flat line like an Intel CPU is. It's a sawtooth graph. So there's something weird about its sensors that it always kind of jumps between speeds, and it can get super annoying because the fan ramps up every time it jumps up. So I've got the fan on super low reactive, in a sense. Like it will take an average of like sort of 5 to 10 seconds of temperatures, and then only on that will it actually go up or down. And so it doesn't rev like it used to. Like if you have a stock AMD Ryzen and you just leave it on its standard settings, you'll notice that the CPU fan revs. It just goes vzz, vzz, like that, like constantly. It's like, no, you can't do that. That's so annoying. Yeah, so I have fiddled with it, but I haven't overclocked or undervolted or anything, and I will only do that kind of stuff once I hit a point where I'm not performing as well as I could. Like if I'm not playing games on mostly top settings and getting good frame rate, then I start fiddling with things, knowing that if I screw everything up and I blow up part of my hardware, by that point I could have justified buying something to upgrade it at that point anyway. So I usually have it at that level where I don't fiddle with things unless I know that they're replaceable and I can destroy them. Izzy's like, your room is so cold, you start running certain games to heat you up. At least it's getting a bit warmer. I've noticed the last couple of days is starting to feel a little bit autumn. Not autumn, a little bit spring rather than winter. So we're coming out of it soon. And soon it's going to get to the point where like we don't want to run our computers in the same room as us because it's too hot. Hopefully by then we'll be able to go outside a bit more though. Trent saying WSL, that's Windows system for Linux. Is that what it is? I know it's like Linux in Windows. Made it so that you can't overclock your CPU, at least the Ryzen Master. That's kind of annoying. And the Ryzen spikes all over the place. Yeah, you open Chrome, it goes up 20 degrees. And I swear that's not a real temperature reading. I swear that's some kind of weird thing. Because it just doesn't feel like it's possible for it to spike up temperature that quickly. But I read up a little bit about it, and people were saying the Ryzen, when it activates and deactivates the multi cores on it, um, the power spike in the activation causes a little heat spike, um, and so those spikes are generally linked up with like uh service events happening in your OS. I don't know exactly what all that is, but it's like, something that only has to happen every few seconds. Um, and it needs another CPU core to do. The Ryzen just spins up all its cores at once and then cooks itself for like a millisecond and then it drops back off. But the temperature sensor is too sensitive, and so it's picking up all those spikes. Super, super weird. Yeah. Right. Chewy's saying that the Ryzen have a smaller, the 7 nanometer chipset. Is this working? Is it working? Okay, okay. I just fired that back up. Um, all right, that camera's not even up. Oscar says we're back. All right, that was a full crash. So that was the graphics card went down first, and then the whole PC went down. So something's up, and it's a bigger deal than I thought. Um, I think I should probably wrap up the stream here, considering my hardware appears to be not reacting well to this situation at all. So, and I also said I was going to wrap up early because I do have a soccer match that I want to go watch, and it's already started. So, I'm gonna head off here. Chewy says maybe it's the RAM. Could be. Uh, Nick was saying blue screen of death. It wasn't actually a blue screen. Well, actually, I couldn't tell if it was a blue screen because the screens went dead before the PC went dead. It looked like it was still allowing me to stream for a little while. So, yeah. The other thing that I was thinking is this a power issue? Is there too much power draw happening? But if there was that much power draw happening, I should be seeing heat as well, because you don't get heat, you don't get power without giving off excess heat. So I don't know what's going on, but something's definitely wrong. Yeah, as Nick's saying, drivers. It could definitely be drivers. Could be driver conflicts somewhere. Um, my power supply, I can't remember. Could be a 650, 500, 650, I think. I can't remember exactly how much it is. I do have a bigger wattage power supply sitting around. So I could just chuck a 750 watt power supply in. It doesn't necessarily need it. Like there's not actually that much in this computer that's really chewing power or anything like that. Unless it's all the USB devices I have plugged in. Two webcams, a phone, a microphone, two sound systems, and two monitors. Maybe that's draining all my power. I don't know. Um, yeah, and Trent's saying 650 is pushing it for a 3070, so maybe it could be I need more power, but it's just weird though because like why would this be a power issue? Because there wasn't that much going on. Like what I'm doing right now doesn't draw a lot of power. Whereas when I'm gaming for hours on end, that does draw a lot of power and that's not causing problems. So there's got to be something else going on. Like the fact that I can game at like, 144 frames per second and just like have these fans running a lot more. So more power going into the fans, more power going into all the hardware, and that not causing a problem. This is an interesting conundrum, but we'll look at it some other time, because I should wrap up here. I should wrap up before my computer breaks itself. And B, I was gonna go and watch the soccer game. So, I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you all for coming along. Hilarious stream in the end, um, uh, in terms of crashing. But I should sign off before it crashes again. Okay. Thanks for coming by. I hope you enjoyed looking at all my toys. Things. Some of them are still on stream on that other camera. Um, and I'll see you all next week. I'll figure out what we're gonna do next week. Um, Probably do some computer game stuff, but I'm not sure exactly what. We'll figure out what it is. All right. See you all.